So with Marvel Rivals been out for a while, it's no surprise to see people either making concept art, full-on concepts, or even videos talking about what characters they want to see in Marvel Rivals. In today's video is no different. I'll be talking about 10 Marvel characters I would like to see get added into Marvel Rivals with some ideas of what role or some ability ideas I came up with them. I also want to mention that I've been keeping myself away from any leaks of characters being added in Marvel Rivals, so any of the characters that have been data mined or whatever are mentioned in this video, please, not just for my sake, but for anyone else who come across this video, do not say like, oh hey, this character has already been data mined, they're gonna get added. Sometimes it's just fun to keep it a surprise. Now with that all out of the way, let's talk about some honorable mentions, and most of these characters are characters who are probably gonna be added soon. First I have is the Fantastic Four, and no surprise here since Doom will be a character at some point, it only makes sense for the Fantastic Four to be added around the time Doom is added. I can see the Thing being a Vanguard, Human Torch be a duelist, Invisible Woman as a strategist, and Mr. Fantastic I can see either as a duelist or a vanguard. Next is Drax and Gamora, which I find it kind of surprising these two aren't in the game on launch, but I can see Drax as a duelist and Gamora as a vanguard. Last is the Sinister Six, and while I won't go over what roles I think they could be in, I mainly want them to be added since not only it will add some villains in Marvel Rivals is lagging, but it will also make sense to add them since Marvel Rivals is a 6v6 format. It would just be kind of cool to queue into a well-known villain team. But let's move on to number 10. At number 10 we have Captain Marvel, a character I'm somewhat kind of surprised didn't get added at launch. While I can understand why some people may not want her in the game, I can see some fun ideas with her. Now if she gets added, I think she fits the duelist role perfectly, and she could have a passive similar to Amani from Paladins. Whenever she deals damage and meter charges up, this could maybe make some of her abilities deal extra damage, have her reduce cooldowns, or just kind of anything with it. There's definitely some fun ideas you could do with her. Now for number 9, it's kind of two characters, but I can't see having one released without the other, that being Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. These two would be a fun dynamic, and I could see them be added in two different ways. One, it would be similar like Cloak and Dagger, where you can swap between the two characters, or just have them as separate characters. If they were added two in one character, I could see them as a Vanguard, where swapping to Devil Dinosaur will make you play a lot more aggressively, and when swapping to Moon Girl, you'll be a lot more defensively with more self-sustain abilities. Now if they were two characters, then Devil Dinosaur will most likely be a Vanguard and Moon Girl will be a strategist. But also if they are two separate characters, I think they should have a team up for each other. At number 8, I have my favorite swamp monster of Marvel, that being Man-Thing. While Man-Thing isn't a character a lot of people know, I personally like him. It could be because of his design, while being simple, is also charming in a way, but that could also be the fact that I have a soft spot when it comes to plant monsters, and a swamp plant monster is so cool. Now if Man-Thing was in Marvel Rivals, he would definitely be a Vanguard. Man-Thing could also have a passive after hitting an enemy a certain amount of times will cause them to burn, since whatever noosphere burns at the Man-Thing's touch. He could also have planned to base walls, but to make it a little bit different from Groot, Man-Thing can make these walls fall over in a direction, rooting down his enemies. At number 7, we have the head of the School of Mutants, Professor X, or Charles Xavier. Marvel Rivals, I'll definitely say is lacking when it comes to the X-Men department, and I think Charles would be a great addition to that. If he was added, he would most definitely be a strategist, and I could see him using his mind powers for either reducing cooldowns for his allies or increasing the cooldowns for his enemies. Maybe he could even have his ultimate where he temporarily takes over one of the enemy team members, but that'll probably leave him vulnerable while using it. At number 6, we have the movie that swept the box office of 2022, that being Morbius. While the movie doesn't give this character the justice he deserves, Marvel Rivals could. Morbius I can see either being a duelist or a strategist. No matter what role Morbius is in, he will definitely have a life-stealing ability, whether that being a passive or maybe as a strategist he can mark on an enemy for allies to life-steal off of, or he could have the damage to be able to heal mechanic like Moira does. Either way, I think Morbius could be given a good shot, maybe even be part of a Midnight Suns event with Mantha and others to join the roster. At number 5, I have the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury, a character that I probably won't be too surprised ever gets added to Marvel Rivals, but I could see him making an appearance in the lore or in an event. But if Nick Fury does end up being added, I could see him as a strategist. I mean, it makes sense since he formed the Avengers and is a head of S.H.I.E.L.D. I can see him being able to send out S.H.I.E.L.D. agents who can act as turrets, and I could also see the helicarrier being part of his ultimate, maybe kind of acting similar to Juno's ultimate. At number 4, we have the cyber menace himself, Ultron. When it comes to villains across Marvel Comics, Ultron has always been that villain that has stuck out to me. Maybe it could be because I love a good robot villain, and Ultron definitely fits the bill when it comes to that, but his design, while being simple, is so recognizable. Now, Ultron is kind of an interesting case in Rivals, since honestly, I could see him being any of the 3 roles. You could have some bulky form similar to like Ramattra in Overwatch 2 as a vanguard. He could be a duelist, being able to summon multiple of his drones to attack enemies, or maybe as a strategist, he'll have supportive drones. Either way, I want to see my favorite robot in Marvel make it into Rivals. At number 3, I have the murderous symbiote, Carnage. Carnage would be such an awesome character to add into Marvel Rivals. Since he's a symbiote, you can be very creative with his kit. I feel like there's no argument that Carnage will definitely be a duelist, and I have a few ideas what he could have. First, I think it's kind of mandatory he has some kind of bleed effect, since, I mean, it does make sense with his name, and also he could be able to transform his hands into blades of some kind. I could also see him take a piece of himself and shape it into a spear to throw at enemies. At number 2, I have the Mad Titan Thanos. I feel like Thanos will be added at some point to become a playable character, or will have a huge role in the story of Rivals. If Thanos was added, he'll most likely be a vanguard, and I can see his kit revolving around with Affinity Stones. I can see him either swap between the stones to give him different effects, like the Soul Stone could give him lifesteal, or the Time Stone can reduce his cooldowns, but he could instead also have a passive where he has to collect his 6 Infinity Stones by doing certain tasks during the game, and once all collected, his ultimate, which will most likely be his signature snap, will be stronger execute to enemies. Finally, at number 1 spot, and the character I want most in Marvel Rivals, is the Spirit of Vengeance, Ghost Rider. I can't stress this enough how crazy Ghost Rider would be in Marvel Rivals, not from a design aspect, but also gameplay. While we obviously don't know how Ghost Rider will play in Rivals until he is added, I have many ideas what he could do. First off, I think Ghost Rider would be a vanguard, and while a duelist would also make sense, I think one of the things Ghost Rider is going to need in his kit is his motorcycle. And I can see this either giving him extra health or shield, and definitely would increase his movement speed. He would also definitely have fire and take damage in his kit, and his ultimate will definitely be the Pendant Stare. I have some ideas floating in my head about Ghost Rider being Marvel Rivals, and in the future I'll definitely be making a concept for him for Marvel Rivals. But those are my 10 characters I want to see get added to Marvel Rivals, and what did you think? Do you agree with some of my picks, or let me know down in the comments below who you want to see in Marvel Rivals. I would definitely love to hear them. But that's for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, if you're new to the channel, and that subscribe button, definitely appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, and have a good one.